Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Stateside Weekly Market Report with Tim Robinson and Bryant Naylor. I am Tim. Bryant, how are you?
Doing great, Tim. Beautiful day in Northern Virginia. How are
It
you?
is. I'm good, man. We're getting a spring here, which is always delightful surprise in DC because it goes from like freezing cold to I never want to go outside again because I'm melting typically. So we're
Yeah,
actually getting like some 70-degree days, which I'm very excited about.
I'm
But
not
no one cares
excited
about the
about
weather,
the
man.
allergies.
Oh, the allergies, man. Yeah, you and my wife both are just struggling with the allergies. Adult onset allergies is a real thing. We are all becoming allergic to things that we weren't as
Yeah,
children, and I think it's just one of the costs of aging. But what are you gonna do? We get smarter, right?
absolutely.
Just our bodies fall apart. No big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to start off on a down note. We were talking beautiful weather, and then we just started talking about old man bodies falling apart. But we're here to talk about real estate, so let's do
Let's just
that.
get to that. Yeah.
All right. So this week, we have both had quite a few things this week that have just been chaotic. And you know, I hate to keep saying the market's crazy because that doesn't mean anything. What does that mean, crazy? But I think let's use a more specific term, competitive. It's crazy competitive. And again, this is not a nationwide thing. You know, prices are varying across the spectrum. They're going up in some places of the country. They're vastly going down in some places of the country that were overheated by COVID. But I think, we've talked about this multiple times, and it bears repeating is that scarcity is a real issue, especially in the DC metro market. There are just not enough houses for everyone that's looking on both the primary and the investment side. So what we're seeing, and like I'll talk an example, you can talk an example, and then we can talk some strategies about how we are preparing offers to compete in this market. But there's so much interest for any house that pops on the market that it's really unbelievable. And we shouldn't be shocked anymore. It's been like this for a couple years now. But there was a dip, in like October, November, December when it peaked at 7%. And people were just like, whoa, what is actually happening? But now that it's kind of, I mean, it's going up and down and it's week to week. And we talk about that here too. But I think people are, again, digesting the fact that this probably is the new normal for the foreseeable future, at least. And they still need to move. They still need to park their money somewhere as an investment. There are still things that need to happen despite interest rates, and the scarcity is still available. Or available. It's still, what am I saying? It's still here. Scarcity is still a real thing.
Yeah.
There's just not enough houses. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about, what you're seeing and some of the, I guess, frustrations. And this is again from the buyer side. If we're working with our buyer clients that are looking to purchase a house, we have you and I have both seen some memes go around that are just hilarious because it's just like,
Yeah.
will work for available housing, like just realtors on the side of the road, like I'm willing to give you my child for a
Yeah.
house. Like what my buyers need house, like it's becoming a punchline because it's a very real
It's
thing, but it's
real.
frustrating for our clients.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Just talk a little bit about, what you've been seeing with the clients you're looking for both primaries and investments on, and I can talk a little bit and then we can talk about some strategies maybe.
Yeah. So on this side of the river, not a lot. We don't have a lot of investors working on Northern Virginia. Just the numbers don't make as much sense as
Yes.
Maryland.
Good
So
point.
yeah. So I'm mostly working with people buying a primary residence. What we're seeing is that houses are coming on the market, Monday through Friday at some point, and then they're hosting open houses over the weekend, and then on Monday they're making a decision, and the house is off the market. So
Yep.
working with my clients, it's if we see a property that you like and you really like it, let me know as soon as you can because if you send me something on Monday that came on the market last week, I'm going to go open those up and I'm going to be calling the agents and they're all going to be like, yeah, well, I have 18 offers in my hand. We're reviewing them. Offers were due today.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we're running into right now on this side. Just being able to plan ahead and be ready for seeing houses over the weekend and being ready to make an offer Monday morning or Sunday
Yeah.
night.
Or before.
That is the rhythm that is occurring on this side of the on in Northern Virginia and in
Right.
DC.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, so I'll speak to the investment side on the other side of that. Primary buyers are not facing as steep competition in Maryland as they are in Virginia and DC, which is nice. I don't know how long that's going to stay, but that is encouraging. But on the investment side, it's crazy. I mean, people, in this inflationary environment and with the banks collapsing and all kinds of, financial uncertainty and the Fed continuing to raise rates, all these macroeconomic conditions are really pointing towards people to invest in real assets, which is why I invest in real estate personally. I like it as an asset class. I like its tangibility. I like my ability to control it to somewhat by raising rent, lowering expenses, et cetera, et cetera. But other people see that too. So we put out our investor list to people that have signed up for it. And if you want to do that, please send us a note. We're happy to put you on that. Of the few and far between investments that we see that pencil out in this market, and even going from just strictly a cash flow approach to the appreciation value, the equity buildup, the tax benefits, all the things that make real estate a good investment class, everyone is looking for that. Everyone who has money that is looking to park it somewhere in this uncertain environment is looking towards real tangible assets. And so I say that to my clients is we're not the only ones seeing these.
Mhm.
So if something pencils out, like I will see it quick, but other people will see it quick too. And the ability to act quickly on that and make a compelling offer, with our track record, they know we're going to close. Just being able to put things into the contract that make it attractive to the seller makes it accepted. But quick is the only thing we can say. It has to be a good offer and it has to be quick. So yeah, I mean, we had an investment that we looked at on Friday, and just running numbers, and then it was gone. Like 8 offers on $170,000 property because it cash flows a little bit, and that is, it's not like a drop dead like, oh, we have to get this deal. This is not
Right.
like a screaming deal of the century. It's a decent property. You know,
Yeah.
it's a decent investment
Middle of
property.
the road.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, I mean, so the bottom line is you have to act quick in this market, and I think there are some ways to skirt that issue. And I think, I was talking with Bryant before this call, and on the investment side, and this can apply to the primary as well, is you kind of have a spectrum of properties, right? You have the ones that are tip top, high end finishes, beautiful. I can walk in and live there today. I can rent this out for top dollar today, but it's priced at the height of the market. Those things go immediately. They do. There are a lot of people out there that just want a turnkey investment or a turnkey primary where they can just go in and live immediately. They can rent it immediately. No work needed done. The seller did all that for you. Those are incredibly competitive and very, very hard to get. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the classic fixer upper, right? It's, I want to go in, but everything's ugly. It's got shag carpet and the bathrooms from the 70s and, the sheds falling down in the backyard. And it's going to take a lot of work, 20, 30, 80K out of pocket. Doesn't necessarily have to be all at once, but over the years, you're going to spend a lot of money out of your pocket in cash. Not everyone wants to do that,
Right.
understandably, but those are getting picked up by flippers, so flippers come in with cash offers and they can outbid most people because they can still see they've run their numbers, they know the profits there. So those are the two ends of the spectrum. I think where the sweet spot is right in the middle. These are the ones that, yeah, you're gonna have to put some lipstick on it. New carpet, some paint, maybe fix some fixtures, upgrade some bathroom amenities. Maybe put in some stainless appliances, little things that will cost you a few $1,000s, but not break the bank, and you can really add value to it. But these are the ones people don't necessarily just jump on. So I think where we can help you navigate this is by putting a price, or at least a price range, on what you will need to put into it to get it to where you want to be, and then we can make an offer accordingly. So things that have been sitting on the market for even a week are, hot commodities for us when we're looking for our buyers. If they lasted through a weekend or two
Yeah.
weekends, maybe they're overpriced, maybe there's some wiggle room, maybe the seller has some hardship, maybe we can find a solution that works for everybody, and we can help you negotiate that in the intricacies of the contract. I said too much. Brian, what do you think about
No, no,
any?
that's all great stuff. And like, yeah, we were kind of talking earlier about, the nice houses that are priced right and they look really, really great. If they're hardly making it first, that first wave of buyers,
Right.
the backlog of buyers looking for houses, those houses are not making it through that wave. It's the uglier houses or the houses that aren't quite priced right that are making it through that first wave and into the secondary market of people looking. And there's deals to be found there. And there are strategies if you don't want to, or you don't have a bunch of extra equity or cash laying around to buy one of those and stick $10,000 into it to get it ready. There's strategies within doing the contract, like seller credits, right? We
Yep.
can ask for a $10,000 seller credit. That'll save you $10,000 close table. You can stick that $10,000 right into the house, and you can make it look just as nice as all the other ones on the block
Yep.
that are selling like hotcakes. I guess
Yep.
what you want to call. So
Hotcakes. Sure. Hotcakes. Yeah.
hotcakes,
No,
right? That's
I've
what
heard
they
that
say.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. You're not going to get that on a really good looking property that everybody wants.
Right.
No seller's going to just give up money.
Yeah.
Even if you're going over asking, they're not going to be like, hey, I'll give you over asking price as long as you give me $10,000 seller credit. They're not going to do that. Period.
Because they'll get someone that'll go higher,
Or
and
yeah,
I think that's what we're up
exactly.
against is that like they're in a normally functioning market where supply and demand are somewhat equal. This is how you used to be able to negotiate contracts. You could say, all right, well, I'll give you a little more, but you give me something. We
Yeah,
come, we solve each other's problems. We come meet in the middle and everyone's happy. That's not this market. The seller is almost always happy and the buyer is always thinking they gave up too much. That's just the way it is. You know what I
yep.
mean? And so I think our clients have to be not, and this is all education. This is what we do as agents is help people understand the terrain, help people understand expectations, and just say, this is what's going to happen because we've seen this time and time again. It's not ideal for you. I understand that, but this is what we have to do to get a property in this price range
Yep.
in this condition. It's a situational fact. It's nothing we can control. It's just what the market is dictating, and we are kind of at its mercy right now. Not to say we're powerless, but like we just have to be strategic in how we're pursuing properties and how we put together these contracts and talk to the listing agents, talk to the sellers, because they do have the upper hand. I don't care if you want to call it a seller's market, buyer's market, nobody's
Yeah.
market. Right now, the sellers have the upper hand because they are getting all the offers, right? So if we're one of a stack of 20 offers, how do we stand out and how can we navigate that? It might be looking for a different class of properties. It might be looking in a little bit of different areas. It might be willing to put in a little bit of work. And like you said, asking seller credits. There are loan products out there, 203K renovation loans. There are different financing options available to help, allay some of the costs out of pocket for putting in renovations. So talk to us. We can explore that with you. But I really think that just knowing what you're up against, I guess, and I don't want to make it like, oh my God, I'm up against, but like, yeah, I mean, that's what it is right now. And like, we're here to help you navigate that. Yeah. So I don't know if any of that helps, but I think it's good for people to know because it's funny because we're in this world every single day, all the time. So we see this and
Exactly.
people kind of hear and they see, headlines and, oh, it's really hard. Why are there 30 people at this open house? But they don't get it. They don't get it. And that's our fault as agents. And so when we have these first conversations, we have to say, this is what we're seeing. This is what it's going to take, and just make it real, and then address the problem, right? Like not just propose a problem and say it's hard. Okay, but we have solutions,
Yep.
like that's the next step. And I think these conversations need to happen, and that we love these conversations because yeah, it's a difficult time to buy a house now, but we do it all the time. We do it every day. You just got to figure out how to do it.
And sometimes it takes a couple swings, so somebody stepping up to the plate and buy a house, and a couple
Yep.
swings to really even figure out what the market is. They're not, we can prepare them all we want, saying, hey, this is what you're going to have to do to win an offer. But some people just can't get there until, like me, I'm that person that's like,
Right.
yeah, we'll see about that, and then,
Right.
I'll go get up to the plate and take a couple swings, and be like, yeah, you're right. This,
You're right. Totally, man.
yeah,
And yeah, no,
I
Brian, that's a
I
good
can't even
point.
compete.
Like
Yeah.
we are these people too, like we are not just like, hey, client, you're gonna have to spend 30 over what they're asking. Like we don't want to do that either.
No.
Like when I buy houses, I'm trying to get the best deal possible. We get it, like we are in your shoes, but the facts are the facts, and this is how we navigate the issue. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. Is like we are on the team of our clients, and like our job is to make it palatable and then offer solutions to real solutions to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'm
it's
the same way, man. I got to take a bunch of swings. Be like, I'll do it my way. I'll take a bunch of swings. Okay, you were right. I'll listen this
yeah,
time.
exactly. I'm the person that has to go out and learn myself. I can go read on like, this is what you need to do. I have to actually go do it and fail and be like, yeah, you're right. I should have just
I
listened.
guess so. Yeah.
But so yeah, I'd say in this market, the kind of the rhythm that's going on right now is houses are coming on the market during the week, Monday through Friday, any of those days. They're hosting open houses on the weekends, and then they're saying Monday is the deadline. And what we'll do is when you give us a call or call up your agent, say, hey, get the information that you need on this listing. So we'll call up the listing agent and say, hey, what are the details? What's the seller need? What's the guys' timeline? I'm guessing it's open houses on the weekend and then offers are due Monday. If that's the case, are you willing to accept an offer early if it's good enough? Right? There are exceptions. I have not
For
personally
sure.
run into that yet. Every agent I've come across is like, yeah, we'll accept something if it's really amazing, but I can't convince a seller or I can't convince a buyer to do that until after they start hearing there's multiple offers in. So
So
what
I have done that, if I can interject. I
no,
have done
please.
that. Now, this was in either November or December when it was a bit more of a buyer's market and it had hit 7% and sellers were freaking out. I went and saw a house on a Friday that was the first day it was open. They were doing open house Saturday and Sunday. I went, saw it. My client loved it. I called the listing agent and said, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse if you shut down the open house. So we talked a lot. I put together the contract. I sent it to them. They reviewed it with their client. They said, we accept. So it is possible. And I say that just to say that's an outlier. It was a different market even 5 months ago. But I got them to accept the contract on Friday before it even went to open house, before they saw any other offers. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like I said 200,000 over. I just
Right.
made it attractive.
And
Like it
sometimes,
was solid. The financing was solid. So these are possibilities. I'm not going to say that call us now and we'll cancel open houses for
right.
you,
Yeah, no.
but it can happen. You know what I mean? So it's just these are the things that we can do to kind of navigate the tricky situation. It is feasible. I mean, honestly, if I was a listing agent, I would have been like, no, that's cool. I'll hold this in
Yeah,
my back
exactly.
pocket,
It's the
see all the
seller.
offers I get Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can pull it off.
Yeah,
So
the seller, I know there was this one this last weekend that we went to. We decided not to put an offer on it, but the seller, she just hated having people in her house. She just did not want to do an open house, didn't want anybody in her space.
yeah,
And the agent's like, listen, I have offers due Monday, but like if you get me something, she'll probably take it. If it's asking or above asking and the contingencies are good, it's a good contract, she'll probably take it just because she hates having people in her house. We
interesting.
ended up not going for it. Like the client decided they didn't like that one enough to pursue it. But so there are outliers. And the only way you're going to find out is if you talk to your agent and then they call the listing agent and find out like, hey, listen, this person, they just want to get it sold. They just, they don't care. They just want to get it sold as quick as possible. They might need a month of rent back, but they just want to get it sold, 3 month rent back. They'll do it at listing price, and boom, we can do that.
Yeah.
But
No, I think Brian, that's a super interesting point. I think we'd be well suited to keep in mind that these are human interactions, and that's why, you need agents, not even just Brian. This is not an advertisement for our services, but there are things going on that people are not privy to. Like who would have thought? Like her main motivation in selling this house quickly at a good offer is to not have people in their house. It could be anything, So like these are things that only, like you said, come up with conversations. And there are ways you can do this, where if you talk and have the conversation and solve problems, you can kind of set yourself apart from just a stack of offers with just numbers based. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great point, and I think that is what can separate you. I mean, there's a whole thing about letter writing. That was a big thing during COVID. Like my family loves this neighborhood, and I went to school down there 30 years ago, and that I don't know. Some people do that, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it's great. But the thought process behind that is to make it more personal, right? Like I really like this house because of X, Y, and Z. And if you can have those conversations with the agents, that could really make a difference. Not always. Some people just want bottom dollar. I mean, that's this is an economic transaction with the people side. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's challenging, but like we can help you navigate it.
yeah,
Anything else? We could talk about this forever, man. We
I
just been
know,
going on.
I know. It's just
Yeah,
there's so much. So
there's so much. We
I
didn't even
think
get to
that
like
yeah,
all the
I think
strategies.
yeah, I think that's good for today. I feel like you just have to have these honest conversations with your agent and go over like, listen, I'm not willing to go against 15 other offers and to waive all the contingencies and all this. And the solution is, yeah, we can still find you a house, but it's going to have to be a house that's been on the market for a couple of weeks,
Yep.
because any of these new ones, we're not even going to stand a chance. It has to make it through that first wave of people, and either you have to be willing to be on that wave with everybody else, or stand back and wait, and whatever filters through, then you can look through and decide if you want or not. So
Right.
those are your in this market, those are your two options.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, it is pretty cut and dry. It is pretty simple, and it's not, again, it's not, we're not trying to be the bearer of bad news. It's just we are being realistic, and we want to get you the house you want, and that's what it takes. That's what it takes. So hopefully this helps. If you can talk to us about specific strategies. We don't need to do a whole video on like contract contingencies and things like that. But I think my purpose here was to just kind of tweak the mindset of just the market is this. It is very competitive in the first weekend. If it waits around a while, we have a little bit more flexibility. But just being prepared for what you're going into is super important, because not meeting expectations, if expectations are different in your head and you think it's going to be easier than it is, then you can just get super frustrated and just pull out.
That's another thing too.
So
If you
just
go into it and you're not expecting it, you can lose motivation very quickly. And we see that with a
it's
lot of
frustrating.
clients.
It's
Like
frustrating for sure.
they swing and miss a couple times, and no matter what you try to say to them, like, you have to step back and really dig deep and think about if you're willing to do this, the opening weekend madness, or if you want to hang out and wait. There are houses that filter through. They're
For
just
sure.
they're ugly. They're gonna need a little bit of work.
But
And
ugly is not bad, man. And
no,
that's what I
no,
tell my
no,
clients
but
is like,
like you just
ugly
gotta be
ugly was
willing.
someone else's vision too. You know what I mean? Like ugly,
I
like I
agree.
always, when Adrian and I are looking for houses, like we always say we don't want to buy other people's renovations.
Yeah,
Like we want to buy something that is fully functional, comfortable, safe, clean, but we can update it as we see fit. And that's not for everybody. I get that.
right.
But like when people are like, oh, and that's one last thing. Cosmetic stuff is cosmetic.
Yes.
Like, and we get it. That carpet's nasty. You would never paint that room
Paint
purple.
color, exactly.
Those when Yeah, like that is so easy, and like we
Yeah.
could put prices on that and it's not that scary. It is 2 days of work and it is a couple grand and you have a brand new looking house,
Yep. And
so
that's
like
where those seller credits can come into play. Like, listen, yeah,
100%.
this house is ugly, but hey, for $3,000, we can fix it all. But let's get $10,000 back from the seller, so you can fit. And then, if there's something else you want updated, like the master bathroom or something, you want a new shower tub tile and everything like that, then you can go ahead and do that as well.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you just got to be willing. You just got to be willing and flexible. If you don't
Be
want the
flexible. You got to be
perfect,
fluid.
perfect model house, you're gonna have to look for kind of the little ugly duckling that is ready to be turned into a
And make
prince.
it your own. You say
No,
turn
or
into
is that a
the
frog?
frog, the
Yeah,
frog, man. You got to kiss the
frog and the
frogs.
prince.
You got to kiss all the frogs, and then you get that you get that prince. What are we doing?
I
All
don't
right,
know.
everybody. I think we're going to leave you with the frog to prince analogy, and just give us a call if you want to talk specific strategies. Check out our other channel, Best Life DC. Is that what it is? Where we're doing some more in depth kind of like, I don't know, neighborhood reviews, and we'll do some like strategy sessions on there. It's an outrolling project. We are just
Yep.
starting to launch it, so check that out. I don't know how to get
Yeah,
there.
it's moving to and living in the DC area. Tim is
There
going
you
to
go.
be Tim is going to be looking at the Maryland side, neighborhoods, cost of living, different, aspects of living over across in Maryland. I'm going to be doing Northern Virginia, and then we're going to be tackling DC together. And
Yep.
we haven't done any DC yet, but we're just kind of doing the Virginia, Maryland stuff right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, check that out. It's going to be new videos every Thursday is our plan. And yeah, just want
We're
to give
here
you
to
guys.
educate. We're here to provide value, and we're
Educate.
here to make stupid jokes and analogies.
And we
So if you
have
don't like that,
cool
you're in the
lights.
wrong place. No, that's not good for marketing. Click subscribe. Check
Yeah.
out Best Life DC. Until next time, I'm Tim Robinson. That's Brian Naylor. Bryant, we'll see you soon.
All right. See you, Tim. See you guys.